In a huge, huge blow to Bernie Sanders and Bernie Sanders supporters, the New York State Board of Elections, and by the New York State Board of Elections, I mean two people, voted to cancel the Democratic presidential primary for New York State. So the New York Times has the story here. They say New York officials canceled the state's Democratic presidential primary on Monday, prompting an immediate backlash from the campaign of Senator Bernie Sanders and his legion of progressive supporters who had hoped to amass convention delegates and help shape the party's platform in August. In making the decision against holding a primary, which had been scheduled for June 23rd, the Democratic chair of the New York State Board of Elections called the primary essentially a beauty contest that the state could ill afford in the face of the coronavirus pandemic. Later on, they say, officials said they had struggled with the decision, but they ultimately concluded that the risk of spreading coronavirus was too great to justify holding an election with no real meaning. The Democratic primary will be held for other races, but because of the board's decision, voters in about 20 counties with no other contests will have no need to go to the polls, and no choice for president will appear on the ballots in the remainder of the state's 62 counties. The board's Democratic co-chairman, Douglas A. Kellner, said that he had read thousands of emails from Sanders supporters urging the board to go forward before making his decision to vote against holding the primary, but ultimately decided that it was time to acknowledge that the primary served no significant purpose. What the Sanders campaign wanted is essentially a beauty contest that, given the situation with the public health emergency, seems to be unnecessary and indeed frivolous, Mr. Kellner said. So this is exactly what the Democratic establishment thinks of you and me. They think our votes are frivolous. They think our votes are non-significant. It's just a big beauty contest for us Sanders supporters. We're not voting for health care. We're not voting for a living wage. We're not voting to make it so people can actually go to college. No, we're not voting for that stuff. That stuff's insignificant. We already have that. Do you think these two people, by the way, two people voted on this? Do you think these two people have to worry about making a minimum wage, a living wage? Do you think they have to worry about fighting for that? Do you think they have to worry about health care? Do you think they have to worry about when the next check is coming in so they could pay their rent, pay their mortgage, pay their electricity bill? They don't. They don't have to worry about that. And that's exactly why they think your vote and my vote is frivolous. It's insignificant. It doesn't matter. It's a beauty contest. These two people alone overturned the will of Sanders supporters by themselves. Thousands of us, tens of thousands of us. These two people overturned it because they don't care about you. They don't care about me. And what's worse about this decision here is that on the 24th, Governor Cuomo already signed an executive order for statewide mail-in ballots. Every single registered voter in New York State can vote by mail. They would not have to do in-person voting. So why is it that now all of a sudden it's something frivolous, something insignificant? It doesn't matter. It's just a beauty contest. Why? Because they don't want people who have less power to have more power. See, us progressives, right now, we don't have the power. Joe Biden and his supporters have all the power, and they want to keep it that way. That's why they don't want Bernie Sanders to amass delegates. They don't want him to have any sway, the Democratic establishment. Because when that happens, when Bernie Sanders supporters and people who hold the view of Bernie Sanders get power, we finally have people that are going to fight for the people. Joe Biden, his ilk, they're not going to do that. They won't fight for you. They won't fight for me. And this decision to just cancel the presidential primary, don't you think that's going to give Trump some ideas? Don't you think Trump's going to say, oh, well, the coronavirus is so serious now, we have to cancel the election. We have to just cancel it. You're not helping your case. For November, we want everyone to be able to vote by mail, but when you just decide to cancel an election, even though Cuomo already signed an executive order so we can vote by mail. It just sets a precedent. They don't care about us. They don't care about our views, the Democratic establishment. They just want to maintain power for them. So we don't get health care, we don't get a living wage, we don't get college, we don't get a Green New Deal because two people decided so. We need to get every single one of these corporate Dems out of here. And I mean that. We have to get these guys out of here. Because as long as people like that are in power, we'll get nothing. Nothing. Leave a comment about your thoughts regarding these two ghouls, I guess is a word I'd like to use. And subscribe to join the political revolution against mainstream media. Corporate media, they like the status quo. They're not going to offer a different narrative. Independent progressive media is the path forward. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.